We beat Eden Prairie in 2018, and that was the first time that Prairie Lake has ever beat Eden Prairie. So that, I think, gave us that fuel going into 2019 that, hey, we can do this.
The census on the team is that we didn't really like them. I mean, people were friends with them for, club stuff. But, when we were on that field playing with them, we were like, no, we don't like you guys. We really want to beat you because you've destroyed us in years past.
We had that chip on our shoulder, and, we'd be friendly off the field. Nothing to take personal, but on the field, I think all of us had the same, okay, we're here to win. And maybe it's the way they just would never shake our hand or acknowledge us like that.
I hated them on the field. I hated them off the field. So every time we played them, it was going to be bloody.
Of course, going in that state championship game, being Eden Prairie, being our really biggest rival since I can remember. I even remember in youth being we have to beat Eden Prairie. The rivalry between our coaches was just unreal. And so,
yeah, all of our hard work did pay off. And we did lose to them in the regular season, but we crushed them.
Looking back on it, even though I didn't play, was just, I think about that and it was one of the best, probably the best day of my life.
Coming into 2019, Eden Prairie had played in 5 consecutive state tournament games, having won 3 consecutively from 2015 to 2017. But in 2019, a new team in girls lacrosse would take center stage, that being the Lakers of Prairie Lake. But unfortunately, the next year being 2020, they would not end up having a chance to repeat as champions.
I mean, everything shut down in March, right? And in hockey and basketball, and they didn't get to finish out their, state games. And I think that's when it really set in of, wow, we may not, this may not clear up in a month, by the time we start season.
And then I just remember thinking, everything that I had done, so carefree, going to lacrosse, going to captain's practices, that I used to complain about going to for an hour long. I would do anything to go back to that. And then, of course, our season was kind of up in the air.
But once it was officially canceled, we had a Zoom meeting with the entire Prairie Lake program. And so
my best friend, Josie Wilhelm, another Josie, who's on the team who you're going to talk to later today, she picked me up and we went to Lakefront, a park over in Prairie Lake.
Cried in a field with some of my teammates. We were so sad.
We were going for back-to-back. We were going for 3-peat for my good year. But that one didn't so much happen.
But transitioning to this year, things are looking up. The Lakers sit second in the state's rankings, owning a 12-1 record. Their only blemish to this year's number 1 ranked team, the Edina Hornets.
When it comes down to rivalry, the head coach of Edina, I actually played with her up at Duluth.
Oh, wow.
And so, it's a really fun rivalry between us. Edina's a very skilled team. They have a great group of, girls that are leading that team as well.
I think the difference is that, Eden Prairie always beat us, and, we've always beat Edina.
We've never liked the Hornets. We really don't like them. It's always been, they've always kind of been a rival, but it's always kind of been a rival, but we've got a step up on them.
Playing them again, I think we'll be a lot more prepared. So I think they should watch out.
And regardless of what happens the rest of this year, it is undeniable what this group of upperclassmen has done to this program, creating a cultural shift where this program is now seen as one of the very elite in the state of Minnesota. So I asked the captains, what's your advice to the next generation of little Lakers out there who want to grow up and be just like you someday?
I would just say, looking up to those ahead of you and seeing what they're doing and trying to emulate what they're doing right. And for those older girls, making sure that you're not too good for them. I think that's a big part of it.
It's a lot of hard work and dedication, and I hope they see that being able to put in that hard work and having that dedication is what is able to help us be so good and win the state title.
That we all just are selfless people, and we just want to be here for the bigger picture, for the greater good of this team. And at the end of the day, honestly, working hard and putting the team first, besides those personal stats, will propel us to be a better team.